This is Justin AMZN on Wednesday, March 6th, 2019. Looking at the pre-market, we're looking like we're holding the low down here around 1690. And as the day opens up, got a couple of high wave candles right in a row. You could technically kind of redraw this a little bit higher to say where we sold off into, where we bounced yesterday, where we bounced the day before. You're off the highs of this a little bit, but I mean, using that as a reference, I mean, even kind of the lows here, somewhere in this range, it's looking like, okay, it could bounce there. So people were definitely buying here. That's why you have the lower wicks. And it would have worked to go like, I think get 2R if you bought right here at the low and exited right here at the high, which you could have done, maybe not the opening candle, maybe on the second candle, probably not on the third candle. Because then it broke down and took out yesterday's low. So we're 20 minutes into the market today, took out yesterday's low, which was made 25 minutes in the market yesterday. I don't know if it means anything, but people were shorting it there. It moved very quickly down and then retraced quickly and made a really nice retest to this level. So it's not as clean with the line down here at 1690. It's a whole lot better, looking at where this goes. It looks like this is starting to bounce. Maybe that's a double bottom, but it's a whole lot cleaner to just move this line up here and say, okay, that's the level. That's where it's at. So this is a great place for getting in bearish, looking for a continuation lower. After these three candles, I mean, retesting right back into it, this is really easy setup to get in bearish. And it actually made an even smaller candle and then broke down. This one taking out the low of the bullish candles. And we'll go a little quicker because it moved quicker. Came all the way down here into the high 1670s. And I was kind of hoping it would just continue on down to 1665. That didn't happen. It retraced. It kind of retested like it's been doing some of these. It'll retest a low. I guess there's not one on the chart. Maybe up here, but it'll retest a low, roll over, get down here, retest a low, roll over. This is a double bottom. It's like, oh, double bottoms. We've been doing that. Let's see if we can get going. Nope, it's not really going. You're staying below the 21. This is the first little peak above it. And then that actually, retested with a very small hammer here. The 21 kind of being the place for it to pull back into. And then you could have been buying that going higher, and it's getting, so right here now you're past that retest level, and it's like, oh, okay, it's going to go higher now. This is the double bottom-ish sort of pattern we've been seeing. This trapped some bears here because it made a new low on the day and then didn't continue lower. You have a really small candle here and a big, really large bearish engulfing with a really high upper wick. It's like, maybe that could roll over some more, and that's what it did. Rolled over, made again a new low on the day, and just kind of chopped into the close a little bit here. So mostly bearish day today. A little bit of buying could have been done down here. Some really nice small candles down here. There were some opportunities to get in bullish in this area. And then I'll switch over to the options. After hours, here we are, 1665.27, right into this range. So I'm going to, let's see. You know what? I'm going to leave these on and see if we can get back up here. Because I think this is a great place for it to be bought up. I just don't know if it's going to happen. On the daily, this is a great place for it to retest into. The squeeze has triggered. We're 3 candles in. It totally makes sense to have a pullback like this. Let's see. The close and the low are pretty close. The open and the high are pretty close. It's not a shaved top or shaved bottom. We're retesting these levels here. Even this retest gap, we just retested. So technically it could still pull back through 1665, come back down to the 21, fill the gap from this retest. And then I'd want to see it continue higher, obviously, or just grind higher. It'd be great if it could hold this low and go sideways for a couple days with some really small candles and then start to turn up and be a really nice S-curve. Or like I was saying yesterday, if we could gap up above the line up here, it could really run. So if we jump over to 1665 calls, those just sort of flatlined right here midday and then got going a little bit. But the $100 risk would have been a little bit tough. I mean, there were some small ones in here, but no real signal to go bullish until you get, I think it was around 12:45. No, it was 12. Let's see, 12 o'clock. Like over here, it's starting to kind of pick up. It retested, like this candle would have been a great place again. That's 12:45. Okay, that's what I thought it was. So 12:45 was here, kind of its last little pullback, still holding the lows. So this one you could have been buying, I think like 13 by 12 or 1350 by 1250, something like that, and exited for 2R nicely. Actually got a little bit more than that with a move up to around 16. Pretty much to the previous high. And then it rolled over. It just completely rolled over. Came down here, and we could have been buying down here 10 by 9 and taking that to 2R at 12. That would have worked right at the close of the day. Right here, could have gone 2R buying on a hammer, on the option 10 by 9, which I should probably just focus on that and see how often that actually works. The 25, 50, 75, and zeros options, because I really like that setup. And then let's see, for the puts, getting into puts up here, anywhere in here around 855, 9, something like that. Looking at puts, 855, 9. Those were getting set up. You could have gotten in multiple times, 7 by 6, possibly. Would have been a little bit tough to get a stop below the low here. And so, getting in 7 by 6 was, once it kind of held this level, you could have just held on for the ride. This was a bit of a pullback. Some folks were probably trailed out for a gain when it pulled back this far, and then just completely rallied from there. It didn't really hold any highs through here. It retested on the 5-minute. This retested back up into the 21, into this low here, but it just pushed the option a little bit lower probably than some were expecting it to pull back. So, and then a rally from there, and then the let's see, the high was really over here around noon. This high was at 1050. What was the 1050 candle? Was this? Yeah, that was this push lower. You had some exhaustion volume. Here, let me zoom in on the day. Right here, you had some exhaustion volume where you had this volume spike bearish. This was people who said, oh, it's going lower. I'm going to get in now, going bearish, shorting it because it took out the low of the day. This is clearly not the place to get in bearish. But, the high volume here says a lot more people did than the previous, 20 minutes. If you add it all up, probably it's close. When it made this kind of evening star reversal, when it retested the 21, when it retested this high wave candle, that's the location to get in bearish, getting in up here. And or getting in up here where it hit the 21 and retested the lows at the open. The retracements were the place to go to bearish. Even this, it didn't quite hit the 21, even this, and then probably would have been stopped out. And that's when something shifted, Around here, it actually started to move up a little more bullish. And I'm sure there were a lot of bulls getting in here. This is kind of the next volume spike. And by spike, I just mean it's higher volume than we've had for most of the candles of the day. For this entire range of candles, we kind of chopped around and the volume was kind of low. But the bookends, this volume and this volume, this one was exhaustion volume. This one is trapping a bunch of bulls on a breakout, and the bears coming in and shorting it from there. And this level is really close to this low. It's kind of a second retest of this with the 21. But a nice place to get in, some gain here, nice place to go bearish for this, possibly for this one. So that would have been like 11:05, 11:10, 10:05, and like 9:05. So if we look at puts at those times, yeah, it's all these. This one, this one, this one. Had you been buying above the bearish candle, buying 9 by 8 after it formed this candle, that should have worked. After it made the bearish candle, getting in 7 by 6 should have worked here. After it formed the bearish candle, getting in like 12 by 11. Each of those should have worked for 2R or more. And so it's just kind of knowing where the retracements we're moving into to get in as a rollover at those places. Those are the setups. So hopefully that makes sense. And we'll just kind of come back in here and see what we're going to end up doing tomorrow on the next video. But we had a really nice rally move here. This is definitely just some sort of a pullback, flag, retracement, and it's normal, totally normal for this to happen. This is kind of a miniature accumulation. So this is the public participation breaking down here and moving lower. So we'll see just what level we come back into. If we're going to hold this one, and the pre-market tomorrow should say a lot about where it's going to be here. If it stays in this area, if it moves down here, if it moves back up, so go by that to see kind of where you're trapping people, where the momentum is going on the daily. It's been bullish. Two lower volume candles that are both bearish totally makes sense. And like I said, if we can get up above this into the 1700s, this thing is gone, because there's a couple candles in here, but there's really not a lot until you get up into 1800, where you have some of, where you have some of the highs up here. So that could really be nearly a 100-point move if we can get above today's candle and just let it run, So, yeah, you had a lot of chop back here, but there's a no man's land here. Goes all the way up to 1800. So that's what I've got my eye on. I always hate saying it'll happen this week. I don't know if it will. I try not to predict where it's going. I just want to read the chart and see, okay, this curve up, that was it. That was the bullish move. Here's a bit of a flag. We're still in a bullish move. This is definitely an evening star reversal at a resistance. So just watch how you're playing it. A lot of this is saying it's going to go bullish. The bigger picture on this says to me it's going to go bullish, but it doesn't have to. And so making sure you're risking the appropriate amount, your R, and I'm just showing you how to get it set up with a $100 R. And if you do 10 times that for a $1,000 R, that works. So hope this makes sense. And thanks for watching. This is Just AMZN.